Everybody has secrets, some more deadly than others.
I had a feeling. It was one of those feelings that you have about a person, but it's not a good feeling.
The devil comes in all shape, forms, and fashion. And he played us.
For William Fowler and his nephew Enoch Rain, sharing these secrets is hard.
We were searching for answers. I would be lying if I told you I wasn't scared.
And despite the risks, they're ready to open up.
People can do evil things, but I'm not gonna let that deter me from doing what I got to do.
If we didn't put a stop to it, somebody else was gonna die.
Like many dark stories, this one begins in a happy place, Poplarville, Mississippi. Having just survived all that Hurricane Katrina blew their way, Enoch Rain and his family have reason to rejoice.
Little weekend family get-together.
Basically, everybody know everybody. A small town, very small town. People talk, gossip.
For Enoch and his Uncle William, family has always been everything.
William is my mom's youngest brother. He's always been sort of like not just an uncle, but a big brother.
Enid and I, we're very close. We did a lot of things together, family functions, fishing.
Everyone in the family knows that where these two men go, the third musketeer is soon to follow.
My brother, how you been?
How you been?
Hey, you know me?
Enoch's younger brother, James.
Look at you. See you dropping nice little 5-10 pounds over here,
Oh,
huh?
you got jokes. I see you got jokes.
James, he's gonna make his way around the room, see everybody. He's joking and playing.
He was a spirit type person, and it was one of those good spirits. And if he came around you, he was gonna make you happy.
Hey, if y'all excuse me a minute, I got some pretty people to attend to. All right?
Get out of here.
All right.
But lately, something is different about James.
James had been through a pretty good ordeal with his unit in Iraq. It wasn't something he wanted to talk about, so we didn't talk about it. But you could tell that Iraq had changed him.
He was looking behind him a lot when he came back. Like somebody was watching him.
Perhaps the only one who could understand what James went through is his war buddy, Pastor Ernest Smith.
Oh, hey, sweetness. What you need?
More of everything, please.
The devastation Hurricane Katrina caused in New Orleans forced Pastor Ernest and his wife Emma to relocate their family. Poplarville seemed an ideal place for them to land.
Here you go, Daddy.
My father was an amazing person. He would get up and preach 5 o'clock every morning. He loved to preach. He loved to put smiles on people's faces. His wife, Emma, was amazing. A person that you could run to tell your problems.
She was a lively person. She was somebody that wanted to stick out, wanted the attention on her, be the life of the party.
If you walk into the barbecue where Emma was, she knew everything. She done did everything.
People loved Emma because Emma was this great person. Emma and my dad, they would go around people and pray for them.
For everyone there, this barbecue is supposed to be a turning point. Time to put Katrina behind them. But hidden away from the crowd, a new storm is brewing.
Ernest is in the backyard barbecuing around the pool. I come to the house, and there's Emma and my brother James hugged up, kissing.
What are you, crazy? We just playing, man. We just joking.
Doesn't look like a joke.
I told him, you in this man's house kissing his wife. If he catch you, this is almost like a death sentence right here.
You worry too much, bro.
It was almost like Emma and James wanted somebody else to see them doing that.
Not wanting to stir up trouble, Enoch keeps his brother's shocking behavior a secret. But in a town this size, it's near impossible to prevent the spread of a juicy rumor.
James, he was an outstanding mechanic.
Man, let me see. Step aside. Let me see that. Give me a ranch and a beer.
He said, well, get your so-and-so butt out the way. You don't know what you're doing.
And that is how it's done. No, what?
It was Ernest on the other line. And Ernest's voice was elevated real loud. And he's telling James that you fooling with my wife. And, you know, they're going on and on.
Now listen, she's grown, I'm grown. We're gonna do whatever the hell we want.
Raging conversation with both of them. When I say raging loud, you can hear probably 100 yards what they're saying.
No, you listen to me, okay? I do whatever the hell The hell do you think you're doing?
James would get angry real swift. He would lose his temper real quick. And that wasn't him. He didn't used to be like that.
What am I doing? What are you doing?
That's that man's wife. You can't be arguing and fussing with him about that. That's his wife.
Ernest is hurt by the affair, but Emma convinces him they can make their marriage work. The repairs start by getting far away from James.
Hey. They moved back to New Orleans. They were one of the few after the storm that was able to remodel their townhouse.
And any woman would love to be with him, and he stayed with her.
I'll see you later.
What time are you coming back?
Well, hopefully by midnight. You ain't gotta wait up, though.
Despite the fact that he knew about her infidelities, he had given to her a fresh bouquet of roses, just sort of to say, I love you. You know, we're gonna work through any issues that we might have.
Have fun.
All right, man. Thanks for the ride, B. All right, now.
Ernest Smith had gone to bike night. Him and his friend had returned and engaged in a brief conversation outside of his apartment. It was very desolate.
These gunshots are just the beginning of a long nightmare filled with deceit,
He lied to me and he played us.
fraud,
This is a game changer.
and another murder.
She told him somebody done killed my baby.
What? Who is this?
Eight months after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans, Pastor Ernest Smith and his wife Emma returned to their home in a desolate part of the city. They focus on repairing the damage caused by Emma's affair. But tragedy robs them of that chance.
Ernest Smith is dead on the stairs in their apartment. The door is open. There is a blood trail leading up to the stairs and surrounding basically where his feet lie.
He must have been startled. The gunshot wounds were to the chest, so he had to turn around and face his attacker.
I was in bed, and I ran down the stairs, and I held him, just held him in my arms.
Nobody was in the area. It was basically no one to talk to try and find out additional information. The only person that really called 911 was Emma Rain herself, and she was never a suspect.
New Orleans PD face a daunting task: solve a murder in the aftermath of Katrina with no apparent suspects. Given little hope the killer will be caught, all Ernest's loved ones can do is grieve.
So my question was, why would someone shoot him? Why would someone shoot a pastor? Why would someone shoot a person that's so amazing? That is what I can remember about him. His smile. I just wish he was here.
To call me and tell me that there's a murder in New Orleans, I've been like, okay, what's your point? But tell me that Ernest had been murdered. Now, it was kind of surprising.
No, you listen to me, okay? You don't tell me what to do, you understand?
I got William on the phone, and we're talking. And the first thing comes to both of us is James was involved in this man's murder.
Enoch and William decide to confront their own flesh and blood.
I gotta ask. Ask me what?
I say, James, did you have anything to do with it? My exact words. He say, no. I say again, James.
Nah, had nothing to do with it.
When he told me no, even though I heard them arguing, I have no reason to doubt that he had nothing to do with it.
Though William and Enoch choose to believe James's words, his actions keep feeding their suspicions.
They moved in together probably 4 months after his death. I wasn't the question asking guy, well, why are y'all two together? Well, why is this? You know, what none of that.
But once they got together, things start changing. You would see James in nice jeans, shirt, jewelry, and James wasn't even a person that wear jewelry.
He was like, oh, Emma bought me that. Emma bought me that.
James has been struggling to find work as a full-time truck driver.
What did I say?
But Emma's a budding entrepreneur whose lavish lifestyle many in Poplarville envy.
She had a hair shop, and at the time she also was getting into real estate. She became a tax preparer. She had 3 or 4 different businesses that she ran.
When James and I build our new place, you have to come over. You can bring your kids, use the pool, everything.
I think that she painted a picture to him that we can be this, or we can be all of this here, and it resonated to him.
Enoch and William are troubled by this new side of James. But what happens next raises their concern to new heights.
They went off to a justice of peace and got married. It was a shock.
Nobody's invited to the wedding. Nobody even knew they was getting married. It was just a haphazard thing. Now they're married. Why the all of a sudden marriage?
Something wasn't right for James to just abruptly get married. Just something was just kind of fishy to the family.
Life must go on. James is a grown man entitled to live his life the way he sees fit. Just as Enoch and William continue on with theirs.
I have a full-time job. I'm a mechanical technician, and Enoch is a full-time fireman. But on our days off, we do fence business on the side.
Enoch, can I talk to you for a minute?
We're running late here, man.
Just a minute, man. We was wondering if you could possibly cash this check for us.
Let me see.
My brother out of the blue asked me about cashing, I think it was about a $20,000, $25,000 check through my business account for Emma. And I'm like, are you crazy? Don't she have this business and that business and she can't cash a check?
Why don't you help me, man?
I am trying to help you. Now get out of here.
And you get a gut feeling about somebody where your hair stands up on the back of your neck and you're like, I want to get away from them. I had a feeling about her at that moment. You can't put your finger on it yet, but it's not a good feeling.
There is a lot to be said about the accuracy of gut feelings.
I'm not jealous of nobody if it was being done right.
But sometimes the truth stays hidden for a reason.
Enoch, it's a crime scene.
Something's not right.
Three years after the fact, Pastor Ernest Smith's unsolved murder appears to have been forgotten by his widow, Emma. By spring 2009, she is happily married to Ernest's former military buddy, James Rain. And the two are moving into a custom-built dream home.
They had built this huge home on Emma Lane that Emma named after herself.
It was a mansion. It was very nice. Every room had a TV.
Probably close to 5,000 to 6,000 square foot home. So, nice. I was told that some of the rugs was $5,000, $10,000 throughout the home that she had, just in rugs.
Yo, Terry! Where you at?
I'm in here, man.
Now that's perfect right there. Hey, don't work too hard. We're gonna be poolside as soon as I finish the cameras, all right?
Cool.
Now, hear me out. I'm not jealous of nobody what they got. I'm, glad that they did have it, if it was being done right.
There was some robbing Peter to pay Paul type of stuff. You hear about a check bouncing over here or something she didn't pay. Now, I understand that's why she had a security system. Probably a dozen or so cameras around the place.
And that's the last one.
If that isn't enough of a deterrent, Emma decides to go one step further.
Emma and James hired me to build a fence around the back of the house and around the swimming pool.
Yeah, that's it. Look at that. The boss. No doubt.
In my mind, I'm seeing something's not right there with her. She got some issues going on.
Emma has a problem with the way y'all put the fence in.
Excuse me?
She said y'all put it in wrong.
When Enoch and I did their fence, she sent James out there to tell us that they wasn't gonna pay us because she didn't like the way the fence was done.
Listen to me. Go back inside. Tell your boss. We put in this fence just like she asked. And she's gonna pay us every dime. Or we're gonna take it all down.
Emma Rain, she's cold, smart. You know, some people would say she's crazy, but I think she's far from crazy.
She don't want James around us. I feel like anytime somebody wants to ostracize you from your family, something's not right.
Over the next year and a half, Enoch, William, and the rest of their family see less and less of Emma and James. It's a sad situation that comes with a heavy price.
I'm at the house in my recliner. It was around 11-ish. I'll never forget it because Maury Puffer's show was on.
Meanwhile, Enoch and James's mother has arrived at her son's home on Emma Lane.
Emma called her and told her that she was trying to get James on the phone and she hadn't been able to get James on the phone. And she was wondering if she would go out there to James' house and check. She went through the back and the door was open.
She goes in.
James? James?
And that's when she sees him.
Mama? Hold on, Mama.
My mom's screaming and crying. So, tell her to calm down. And I'm trying to stay calm.
What happened?
She told her somebody done killed my baby.
It's a 15-minute drive to James's house. Enoch makes it in 5.
I just made it as far as the door.
It's a crime scene.
The deputy knew me from being out on a few scenes with the fire service. Sure enough, he's there in the bed, murdered. You know, I could see the wounds from whatever type gun blast, you know, to the head. I've been on crime scenes, being in the fire service. You know, it's a little bit different now as family.
Mama?
That's a sight that I'll never forget, looking at her. And don't get me wrong, yes, I'm hurt as well, but that's a child, a baby. That's something that a parent should never have to deal with.
At this point, all kind of thoughts going through my head. In the process of all of this, I call Emma.
Hello?
Emma, it's Enoch. Where are you?
I'm in Arkansas. I'm in a meeting. What is it?
So I said, something that happened to James. He's been murdered. I get this dry scream in the phone. It was one of those outbursts that you know that somebody really don't care. I knew she had something to do with it. That was my personal feeling.
You just had a husband murdered in 2006, and 5 years later, you got another husband dead of gunshot wound.
These suspicions quickly become a full-fledged quest for justice.
At least respect the dead.
I told law enforcement there's surveillance on the house.
And he begins to fear that he's next.
There's so many real bugs. What?
"24 hours after James Rain was found murdered in his bed, his wife Emma finally arrives back home. What should have been a 5-hour drive from Arkansas has James's family wondering, could Emma be responsible for his death?
You can't tell me you love somebody and they've been found shot to death. Then you don't come home for another whole day? And if you're innocent, that would have been where you wanted to be at.
I don't know what to tell you, Detective.
Something strange here. Ernest was just murdered in New Orleans, which is Emma's husband, in '06. Now James is dead.
I was in Arkansas at my conference, and I got a call. Something happened to James.
Unlike the night when Ernest was killed, this time there's hope that someone witnessed the crime.
I told law enforcement there's a surveillance system on the house.
The day before he's murdered and the day that Emma leaves town, she is the last person seen on the camera when the camera's shut off. And there's no footage of anything at the time he's killed.
I don't know what else to tell you, Detective.
No security footage, an alibi, and her reputation as an entrepreneur. Local police have no reason to believe Emma is involved. With no other leads, their investigation hits a dead end. For William and Enoch, it's a painful reality, made harder 8 days later when James is laid to rest.
I told James not to talk about our business.
Instead of Emma saying something consoling, the first words out of her mouth was, "Mom, I told James about talking our business."
I'm watching Emma touch these spots where James was shot at. Now, only Enoch, myself, the police, and the forensic people know where James was shot. She wasn't there, so she's not supposed to know where James was shot.
There was a big old fiasco at my brother's funeral.
The way she carried on at the funeral, at least respect the dead.
If Enoch and William had any doubt Emma was involved in James's murder, the funeral removes it. And it propels them on a risky mission to expose the truth.
After James's death, we were searching for answers.
And we're just trying to put 2 and 2 together. And there was one name kept coming up. Terry James and Enoch's adopted brothers. Terry looked up to James. They was very close.
My question and my uncle's question was, what did Terry know? If Terry knows something, he's the next target.
We're taking a ride. Let's go. Listen to me, Terry. We're here to help you. Ernest is dead. James is dead. If you know anything, if James knew anything, then you need to tell us.
They got me. Kill him.
No, it gets quiet. We're quiet because I'm stunned now. I said, who is they? He said, James and Emma came to me to murder Ernest.
Terry has a moment where he's actually scared. Everybody who gets involved with her winds up dead, and he begins to fear that he's next.
This is a game changer.
I can't believe he did it because that face is that little kid that I knew. But he told us how he did it. Walked up to him and shot him twice with a 9mm. And he ran. Then he drove back across the twin span, and he said he tossed the gun in Lake Pontchartrain.
We tell him, okay, you gonna do the right thing.
The family counsel him. They tell him, look, you're gonna have to tell the police what has happened and what you've done, and we will help you.
Faced with this growing mess of lies and murder, Terry takes a different course of action.
Terry leaves town and never turns himself in.
We know James had something to do with it. That hurts me more than James' murder. It really does.
James was always my baby brother. We picked on him when he was coming up, so.
It's hard to fathom. It's hard to grasp. And we know him as a brother, as a nephew, that he did this.
With heavy hearts and Terry on the run, the next 3 days are a low point for William and Enoch.
It was probably 3:30, 4 o'clock.
There's someone in your mailbox. What? Who is this?
To this day, I don't know who that phone call was from.
There it is, right there.
Emma had got a life insurance policy on Ernest Smith in 96 or 97, and she began to slowly increase that policy until just before he died.
Those papers showed that there was an increase in the insurance policy from $100,000 to $800,000. And before Ernest's murder, there was a beneficiary change, and they listed my brother James Rain as co-beneficiaries of Ernest Smith's life insurance policy.
No man in his right mind will put another man on his policy if he think he been fooling with his wife. No man.
James and Emma and moved to Poplarville, Mississippi. They are married and they build a very large house. That's where the proceeds ended up.
James lied to us.
Had nothing to do with it.
And he played us.
Now that James has also been killed, Enoch and William believe this policy proves Emma is the evil mastermind.
We were dealing with something that if we didn't put a stop to it, somebody else was gonna die from her.
He would say, you know what? In order to solve James's murder, we're gonna have to solve Ernest's murder.
6 years after Ernest's murder, William and Enoch take a road trip to the eye of Emma's storm to meet with a cold case detective.
Every cold case she was on, never has she lost one. I like those odds.
Detective Chambers? I'm Enoch Rain. This is my Uncle William.
At that time, I had no knowledge. I did not have the homicide case file. I had not pulled it.
And you say your foster brother,
Terry.
shot Ernest Smith and Emma paid him to do it?
This was the first time in my career that a family member had spoken with me about another family member being responsible for a homicide.
It started at the family barbecue. My brother James.
Enoch and William relay the details of their story.
Anybody who meets with these men, the first thing that you realize very quickly is that they are telling the truth.
You have to steer clear of Emma.
Yes, ma'am.
Emma, she would kill again.
I would be lying if I told you I wasn't scared of her. I know what this woman was capable of.
There are people who are too afraid to come forward.
Only the murder, and the police would have known that.
We're gonna have to go further to get some answers.
It's the spring of 2013. Enoch Rain and his uncle William Fowler have been called back to New Orleans. Back to the office of cold case detective Lucinda Chambers.
Unfortunately, it was just as you suspected.
I was able to focus on how Mr. Ernest was murdered, and that's when I obtained formal statements which corroborated the crime scene.
She said, "We believe y'all now."
Everything was basically spot on, corroborated by the physical evidence on the scene.
Man, I'm getting me one of those bikes, man. I'm telling you.
Terry tells them that he watches Ernest Smith talking to a friend, shoots him twice with a 9mm gun.
This detail is key.
The whole time, nobody's never revealed what type of gun it was.
Only the murder, and the police would have known that.
Finally, someone outside this family is on to Emma.
Emma was aware what was going on. She was waiting for the execution to happen and was sort of giving the signal to Terry.
I just held him in my arms. And I called 911. There was no way she would have cradled him without blood transferring to her clothing.
She had on white pants and no DNA or blood from Ernest was on her. And this is the man you say you love.
The real smoking gun in the case is the insurance policy left anonymously in Enoch's mailbox.
When I started reading the insurance documents, and it's like I could not put them down. Just the sheer fact that someone would put the significant other at the time on a insurance policy for their husband, it's a red flag.
Thank you.
I was able to come home and sleep after that moment.
It gave us strength to hear something like that, where you giving us strength, because everything is coming together now.
It takes a few months, but New Orleans police track down Emma and arrest her for the murder of Ernest Smith. She's already married to husband number 5.
I advised her that she was being arrested for the murder of her husband, and her exact words to me were, "Which husband?" Yes.
having to testify against Terry for what he done. You know, we was close. We loved each other, still love each other.
Deep down in Terry's heart, he know we did the right thing. He know. He may never admit it, but he know.
There are people who were too afraid to come forward when it came to the trial against Emma Rain. They thought that Emma Rain would find them and would kill them, and they were scared to death.
Not Enoch and William. Their testimony was instrumental.
Going through trial, she had a cold stare. She's a smart person. Just wasn't smart as me and Enoch.
Emma being behind bars is important to everyone she crossed.
Emma had lots of people fooled by her appearance.
If you're looking at her from the outer appearance, pastor's wife, business owner, of course she was in disguise.
The sheriff, borough recounted and said to Enoch and myself that he'd need a smoking gun.
I know we're gonna have to go further as a family to get some answers.
I don't know what God have in store for my life when it's time for me, but I'm not gonna let that deter me from doing what I got to do, and that's seek justice for James's murder. We're not trying to cover for James. James was wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He was wrong.
Even though James done paid the ultimate price with his life, if he was here, I would be down there turning him in too if I knowed this before he was killed.
I love him. He's dead and gone. I'll always love James. But I'm still disappointed in him.